Well, hi everybody. Well, today we're gonna fix an engine on a lawnmower. It's kind of dark here, but it's a Craftsman. So, of course, I took everything that's obvious. Air filter, which anybody can do that, so I don't have to explain all that. So I got to take this motor off this machine here because the connecting rod inside is gone. Now sometimes all it is just the keyway in here that breaks. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, in this case that's not it. So if the keyway breaks, then your timing is off and the lawnmower won't start. But that's not my problem. My problem is I pulled the spark plug out of there and I put a screwdriver in there and I tried to move the flywheel and the piston is not moving at all. So it is the connecting rod that broke inside of here. So I got to take all that off there. So far I just took the nut up here and I'm going to take the fins out, so I don't have one hand there to work with. So I'm going to take the fin off. There's only two little screws here that I already loosen off. So I'm going to take this off. Of course, you got this that goes on top with 4 screws. You know, nothing really complicated. So I'm going to take the flywheel off. So in order to do that, I'm just going to put the bolt back in the hole. Don't need the washer. So I'm just going to put that like this and that tighten because I want the flywheel to come up, but you want a few more threads so you don't rip everything apart. Okay, so and I'm just going to get a puller out. Okay, the type of puller you need is the one with, it's got 2 screws on each side that comes up like that, and you got a big bolt in the middle and a thing that grabs the 2 screws on each side, and you just screw on the top and this will pop out. Do not use one of those pullers. You know, one that would go like that and grab on each side, because what happens is you're going to break the teeth underneath for the starter right there, unless you can grab it right here, but more than likely it takes so much force that it's gonna pop off. So anyway, what I did, I this flywheel was already damaged, so I didn't care, so I did use that puller. I didn't need a lot of tightening to do, and then I just hit it with the hammer and it finally loosened up. So now all I have to do is pop it out of there. So once you pull that out, flywheel, you get the stators, you get the magnet in there, and there's where this one is damaged. So sometimes starter don't grab it there. So next, I'm going to pull the Magneto. I took my measurement between the flywheel and the Magneto, and it was a 1/10 of an inch for the gapping. So I broke that down, make sure I remember that so I can set it back up. And we'll show that later on how to do that. So now I just gotta take the starter off the engine, unplugged everything, clean it up a bit so you can see what I'm doing, and start unbolting the engine from the frame. So I'm gonna start with that. Of course, before I started the whole thing, I just drained the oil here. Took the plug out of here. Drain the oil. I put this on here because it was always leaking on the frame and leaking all over the place, so I just put the little pipe extension and this 90 here and this little plug. I should also mention, before you start taking any wiring apart, make sure you unhook your battery. It's positive for sure. So because you do have some wiring here you don't want to shorten out, just to be safe. I know everything goes through the key, but you never know. It's just safer to unhook the battery first, then you can go at the wires. Okay, so next I started on the muffler right here. So there's one there and there's one underneath right here, which I already took out. So quarter, make sure you get the right tools though. Quarter Allen key is in. And then there's one here. It's 3/8 nuts for the bracket for the muffler. So all the muffler down there and all this will come out. Should drop right through it, through the frame. Okay, so if you want to take the whole muffler out, there's a heat shield in the bottom that you have to remove. So this is where the muffler goes, drops down, but if you want to take it out, you got this heat shield right here you got to remove, which the bolts are on the side here. So you can just remove the two bolts and bend that down, and just to free that. But I'm just going to let it sit here because it's not in my way, because I'm going after the bolts underneath for the engine. So that's from underneath the lawnmower. I'm just emptying the gas tank into here. So I undid the carburetor right here. Took the clamp off. So I'm just going to let it lay because that tank was full when I started cutting the grass, and then the engine broke on me. So I'm just going to get rid of the gas. I don't think I will remove the tank. It's not in my way. So, but I will take the deck, the cutting deck off. I need to clean it anyway. So, because all the bolts for the engine is underneath. Okay, I just took the deck off, cutting deck underneath. Okay, loosen this off. Take the linkage off. That's it. And now we're ready to go underneath and unbolt those guys. There. That's all from underneath. So I'm just gonna jack it up a bit. Put a jack there underneath and unbolt the engine. Alright, so now we're underneath. I'm gonna pull this pulley off. There's a big opening here, but there's a bar here that keeps the belt from coming off this pulley. So it's a stopper, and that's gonna stay there. So by taking those two off, I should be able to pull the motor off. Now this here, I just applied the brake. This is the pulley that puts tension on the belt. So by just doing that, I should be able to just pull that belt right out of there. But there's a lot of stoppers like this here. So a few times it came apart back there, so I might just take it off here because it's so loose back here. Just like that. So now it's loose enough for me to take it off the front here. So I'm just going to take the belt off this pulley here. I need both hands for that, and I'm going to take this pulley off. And then we'll be ready to start unbolting the engine. The bolts are right here. I'm going to have to clean it all out first. Okay, I took the pulleys off, so now I won't have no problem pulling the motor through that hole there. Okay, so now I'm just going to do those 4 bolts here. Oh boy, I can't see none. Okay, there's one there. And then one there. Here. And another one in that corner there. And then there's another one right on the other side of this pulley. Here, somewhere. Yeah, right. Okay, took the engine off. It's over here now. It's upside down. I got it on the side there. So I'm just going to undo all those bolts here and separate the casing in half. So this is going to come off over this. So that's going to come off over this shaft. Okay, so I got all the bolts out. Okay, there. They all there, and they all the same size. So time to take something apart, make sure you put them side by side as you take them out. Make sure they're all the same length. All right, so I'm ready to separate those two together. Okay, so I got everything out. I hit it here on the corner a couple times, so I guess it's ready to come out now. Ooh, almost lost the light here. Okay, there we go. Alright, so this is the inside. So I said connecting rod, right? And there it is, all broken in pieces. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Try to grab the pliers or whatever. Okay, this is why they call this a trouble light. Right. So, and there's the connecting rod. Totally broken. And you see all the other pieces lined up. Yeah. So that means I'm going to have to separate the front too. Take the piston out and get another connecting rod. I hope that's all it is. If not, I'm just going to buy another engine, I guess. So there's the end of the connecting rod. Just want to make sure that it didn't go through the crankcase. Didn't break nothing, because otherwise then there's no point fixing it. Also, before you take anything apart in here, just make sure that those two marks are there, lining up. Sometimes there's more than two marks, so see, there's a little mark in the little wee one there, right here, and it's got to line up with this one. That's your timing mark when you put it back together. Cutting wire, okay. So here we go. There's all kinds of stuff in there. So I'm going to take that out. Well, took the gears out. Centrifugal governor, and clearance here, that's damage. That sucks. That's damage down here. Right there. Here's the other piece. Should be with this. Yeah, was wrong at one point. Well, of course, all kinds of still little pieces. And the crankshaft is damaged right here. Great. I just want to put some oil in there and I can't see nothing. There. So, yeah, that's screwed big time. Yeah, so I guess get another engine. Thought I could just change the connecting rod there and at the end of the piston here, but I don't think we'll be able to do that. There's damage here too. Sleeve is okay, it's right at the end though. Mess. Well, can't find parts for it anymore, so crankshaft is not available anymore, so I just put it back together, and I'm going to keep carburetor off of it and all that. And we just ordered a new motor engine that should fit on this, so right now I'm just going to clean all that out and get it ready to put the other motor on, which we don't have yet. Another couple days, I guess. So that's what I'm doing now. Doing it the best I could. So there's the new engine. There's the old one. Comes with its own starter. Muffler I have to remove. I have to put the old one back on. And take 17.5. This one was only a 16 horsepower. So just going to mount that motor on here. Alright, so I got to change the exhaust here because my lawnmower is a different setup, which is this here. So I'm going to put back, the muffler back in this hole because the engine overlaps here, so it's easier to do it that way than going from underneath. And I gotta take this off here, so, and the extension, because that muffler there is gonna screw right on here, so I don't need this little extension pipe, so I have to remove all this. Okay, so I removed the muffler and the extension here. I need both hands to do this. That little extension is going to come off. Okay, so it's off. So I'm going to keep this little gasket here to put on the muffler. Over here, the other one is all. It's no good. Another thing I had to do, I had to rethread the holes here because they were self-tapping, whatever. I didn't want to take a chance. So I took the same bolts from the other engine, which are 3/8, and course is 16. And so I just rethreaded the holes here. And I guess we're ready now to mount it on the lawnmower. I put the other muffler in place, like I said a while ago. So now with the other muffler off, it should fit now. Okay, I got the new engine bolted on. So everything lined up pretty good. So I'm just going to have to reattach the muffler here, which is going to be sweet. There's the bracket right down there for it. So it fits pretty good with this engine. And now I'm gonna mount the pulley back on from underneath. So make sure the keyway's in there. Yep, right there. Okay. So I'll put that on, put the belt on. Then I'm gonna do the linkage for the throttle right here. Which is no big deal, just fits in here and tied there. And I'm just gonna adjust the idling later. And then the fuel line right here to here. Got a little filter here, so I don't need this one anymore. I'll just hook it up to this filter. Okay, got the pulley back in place with the drive belt. It's all the way down to the back. It's all put back together here. Alright, so just gotta go on top now and do the wiring. Alright, got the fuel line on. I got the throttle hooked back up here. Right here. Okay, and on the other side here, I usually take this plug out. Here, so we can have some light here. Alright, so I take this plug out of here. Okay, another thing I do, sometimes I just remove those little plugs that's right there on the engine for drainage. And I just add this little pipe here. You can get that at any plumbing store. This little pipe here with a 90 and then a plug underneath right there. And that saves you from having the oil leaking all over the frame when you do an oil change. It just goes right down there. It's nice and clean. Alright, so now I'm going to start on the wiring. Okay, the wiring is a bit different than this one. So, got the red going in, and that goes to the stator to charge the battery, and it gets its ground from here. So, don't need this one anymore, so I'm going to cancel it. I didn't want to cut the wire off the engine, so I just put another connector to this one here, and I used the old connector from the other engine. And now all I have to do is connect it here, and that's it. And just tie wrap this, tape this one because it is positive, so I don't want it to touch metal anywhere. So I'm just gonna seal it pretty good, and that'd be it for the wiring. Okay, I got the wiring done. I just got to clean it up a bit. Now here in front, I noticed on the old engine, the spark plug wire is rubbing on the metal right here. So I just cut a piece of fuel line, cut it in half, and I'm going to put this line in here just like that. So therefore, it's not going to rub against the metal and shave the wire. So there, so that gives it some protection. So there we go. So I didn't need this wire after all. It's just a ground. It's getting its ground from here. So right there. So I just gotta clean this up a bit. Gonna use some tie wraps and make it pretty. And that's it. Got a job done. Just put the deck underneath and I'll be able to mulch my leaves.